Hello again. Welcome back. In episode 2 of my hardcore series, I decided to build a massive castle on the top of this mountain, right next to my main base, all for one fox. Why, you ask? Because I said so! Because I haven't tamed a fox in Minecraft before, so what better way to do so than to give it an entire castle? Don't worry, I'm not mentally stable. Before I start building it, I need to get better tools. The way I was going to do this was to exploit the slaves. I mean the villagers that I trapped in the first episode, by building a temporary villager breeder along with a melon and pumpkin farm for easy emeralds. I started by taking the melons and pumpkins that I had already collected and scouting out an area to build the farms. This place will do nicely. Let's start by doing some lawn maintenance, adding some water, and planting the seeds I had. Right, I've planted everything I had. Time to get the subjects. Donkey. What the hell is going on in there? How did the iron golem get in? I wonder what they've been up to this whole time. I didn't do a very good job of trapping the villagers. There were a couple just roaming around. Not on my watch. Then I began the long and lengthy process of placing down composters, luring the villagers about 15 blocks, moving the composters closer to the base, and repeating this cycle for the next 20 minutes. After the villagers were finally trapped in their new breeding box, I expanded the farms a bit, added the villager holding cell, and the drop chute for the newborns. While waiting for the slave stock to pile up, I started building the interior for the central building at base and expanding the pumpkin and melon farm every now and then. The first baby villager has grown up. About time. Now to make you a farmer so you can give me all the money you have. I feel like the government. Luckily, after trading with him a few times, he started selling me emeralds for pumpkins. I didn't really have a vision for the interior of the base, maybe a few chests and a way to get to the roof. For now, I'll work on the floor. Another villager grew up, so I moved him to another box and placed down a lectern. If you've worked with librarians before, you know it takes a while to get the right enchanted book you want. But, just after 10 minutes, he wanted to sell me a mending book for a decent price. I then bought as many as I could and enchanted my rather desperate tools. To repair them, I went around and mined some coal for XP. Until I discovered this. Ooh, a hole. Holes get me excited. Wait, that's kind of deep. Just gonna send my camera down there. Yo! Oh my... This cave is huge. This is actually really cool. Well, that settled that then. I've got to build something in there. Next, I wanted Unbreaking 3, so I made another villager a librarian and kept refreshing his trades. About 20 minutes later, Unbreaking 3. I collected the sugarcane up and growing nearby to craft paper and sell for emeralds. I then repeated this process a couple more times to get efficiency 5 and fortune 3, which took an hour and a half to get. I hate villagers. In between that time, I encountered a rather terrifying rendering bug. What the... I think I've just pooed myself. I have never seen anything like that before. Wow. After putting on a fresh pair of underwear, I ventured into the cave system under my base. Using my new Fortune 3 pickaxe, I went on a quick mining session. Returning back to the surface, I used the diamonds I collected to make a set of diamond armour, and added efficiency 5 to my shovel and fortune pickaxe. I used my now faster shovel to finish replacing the floor of my base with spruce and wood planks. Realising I needed Silk Touch, I traded with another librarian, added the enchantment to my second diamond pickaxe, and used it to remove the campfires and other things from the interior. After staring at the open space for a little while, I thought this building could serve as my storage room. I built this spiral staircase to the roof, fenced off with some spruce trapdoors, as well as making the support pillars around the staircase look a bit better. Next, I moved the lava generator outside and built some frames where my chests would go. Placing the chests, I also put some birch trapdoors on the ceiling to stop the water from the farms above dripping down. After moving the items into the chests, I noticed my tools weren't really being repaired, like my heart. Jessica, please, come back. So, I needed a better source of XP. Luckily, there was a cave spider spawner in the abandoned mineshaft under my base. I quickly set up a simple XP farm I found by Rategood. And after about 50 minutes, all my tools were fully repaired. I used the rest of the XP I had to enchant a silk touch pickaxe. Moist. Next on the list was a sword. After getting sweeping edge 3, sharpness 5, and looting 3 librarians, I fully enchanted my new diamond sword. I said in the last episode that I wanted to keep adding to my base, and I think I could add a few ponds. Also, a couple paths could do with some small stone walls. I don't think I'll do all of them just now. I want to add some more buildings dotted around. Why did I do it like this? Finally filling the pond with water, I made a small stream coming from this hill here and grew some stuff. Now for the walls. Nothing too fancy, just using a combination of stone, andesite and cobblestone, including stairs and slabs. I decided to add some spruce slabs to the paths to easily walk up them, and also to add a hint of contrast. The paths look a bit plain, being the same block, so I experimented with adding some different blocks for some texture. After testing path blocks, yeah, this looks shit. I eventually settled on keeping coarser as the main path, but also sprinkling in some spruce wood and packed mud. Much better. Heading down into the mines, I gathered a lot of stone to build the rest of the walls. I was really starting to see the base come together, but it could also use some cozy areas. I've been thinking a little bit about this hill here, and I think it would be perfect if I had a little campfire area up there. I'm fully aware that once I built it, I'm never going to set foot up here again. I'll place a few logs around it for some seats, can imagine this area would be used a lot, so I'll make the grass look a bit trampled and compacted down. Oh. I then snaked a path up the back of the hill, just like how I snaked up your mum, also making sure to bone meal the area a little bit. Next, I wanted to build a smeltery. My plan was to have the lava generators and furnaces in the same building. That way it's all in the one place and I can fuel the furnaces quickly. I started by flattening the area where I wanted it to go. And place some boundaries. I spent a couple hours designing it in a creator world, so I already know the shape of the building. I lined the floor with deep slate, placed in the furnaces, and used stone bricks for the walls, which I'll eventually texture. As I was getting some more materials, I saw Gwen was getting bummed by some random enderman. Don't worry, he will die. I was careful while installing the lava generators, making sure to fully encase the lava in stone to stop the wood parts of the building catching fire. After building most of the roof, I started filling up the lava generators. While waiting for them to produce more baked beans, I added some tuff to the floor, built a water trough, placed a smithing table, and finished the ceiling with more deep slate. And some chains. I bet you're into chains too. After having another short mining session, so that's 23 diamond ore, which gives me 44 diamonds with fortune 3. Not bad. And 47 iron ore goes to 107. I smelted the raw iron to make blast furnaces. Now to texture the walls of this building. I want to make it look like parts of the walls are cracked, since it's a hot environment. I'm going to add some windows, but use iron bars instead of glass. I added a few details to the outside, textured the walls with some cracked stone bricks, cobblestone and andesite, and lastly built 2 chimneys. Yeah, that looks cool. I deliberately left the area next to it empty, since I might put something there in the future. As I planted some spruce trees, I thought about building an enchanting room. I think I'll build an enchanting building here. It doesn't have to be anything big, since I'll use it like once. I just want to enchant my armor with something. I'll use villagers to fully enchant it next episode. My idea for the enchanting building was to have a small hut on top of a boulder, and I'll have a staircase going up to it. By the way, the new bundles came in clutch with this episode. I didn't have to do as many trips back to stock up with more materials. I used some spruce trapdoors for railing, and started building the boulder itself. I left the boulder hollow, but I can't think of anything to put inside. If you have any ideas, let me know in the comments. After building the roof, I killed some cows for leather, harvested some sugarcane for paper, and used them to make bookshelves and max level enchanting. I then took lava from the lava generators, made obsidian, and used said obsidian to make an enchanting table. After that, I went back to the cave spider XP farm, got up to 30 levels, and started enchanting my armor. Not the best. I'll try enchanting the boots again. I spent the next 2 hours of my life getting 30 levels, either by using the XP farm or by smelting the copper I had, enchanting an armor piece, getting an enchantment far worse than your already poor IQ, getting back up to 30 levels, and getting enchantments that actually suck. In the end, I just gave up and finally turned my attention to the castle. It's now 1.21.4 and I'm using the Fresh Animations resource pack. I guess you could say all the animations are fresh. Alright, time to put a big castle right there. Am I compensating for something? So, I scaled the mountain, looked around for a bit, and lit up this huge cave that was right beneath where I wanted to build. I then outlined the base foundation. I've planned the shape of this building in a creative world, so there'll be 2 layers, the base foundation and the actual castle itself. After putting in a temporary floor and removing this chunk from the mountain, I marked out where I wanted support pillars to go with deep slate. I started filling in the wall for the base foundation when I ran out of stone bricks, so I built this temporary staircase instead of having to parkour up the mountain every single time. I needed a lot of deep slate for this build, so I went back to my deep slate mine and started mining out a large area. I even found diamonds in the process. I turned some deep slate into polished deep slate and built the support pillars. Using some deep slate tiles, I added a bit of texture to the pillars. I'll also do this to the main foundation wall too, but I ran out of stone. So, back to the mines. Replacing the top edges of the foundation layer with polished tuff, I used various stones I'd mined to texture the wall. I also used cobble deep slate as the base for the support pillars, and topped them off with whatever you'd call this. I joined these things with more deep slate, and started working on the next layer of the castle layer. I am really great at naming things. I started by outlining the castle towers and the walls that would connect them. After that, I outlined a large door that would sit on the foundation layer, in between the 2 front towers. It'll be closed for now, but I want to build something through there in the near future. Maybe a hyper smelter, or even a dungeon, for when your mother comes over. I next flattened the land on the castle layer. Chopped down some spruce trees, and made some spruce trapdoors to use as these side doors? I don't really know what to call these, but they look cool. And then I filled in the main door. Again, I'll build something behind it in the future. While I was down here, I textured the top of the foundation layer with cobblestone, andesite, and stone bricks. I also textured this front wall too. I made sure to use cobblestone less frequently, since it stands out more than the other stone blocks I used. I added these nipple things here, and built the upper half of the front wall. I wanted some cutouts as well, rather than just being flat. I repeated this for the remaining 3 walls, and also added the tops of them. I wanted to build the castle towers out of mud bricks, so it was at this point when I realised I needed a mud farm. So, after collecting a load of sand, smelting it into glass, and harvesting wheat to make packed mud, I built a temporary mud farm using a tutorial by Triloms. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. Now, time to start building the towers. After placing the stripped dark oak logs, I lined the rest of the tower with mud bricks. Using the dripstone and brown mushroom blocks I collected earlier, and some regular packed mud, I textured the towers. Next, Next, I started building the tower roofs. I wanted to have a thin layer between the tower itself and the actual roof. My plan is to have 2 rings of spruce wood, sandwiching a mix of diorite and calcite blocks. Kind of like a double stuffed Oreo. Speaking of double stuffed, that reminds me of a time back in high school. There were these 2 dudes, right? One behind me and another in front. Heading back to the cave system under my base, I mined a load of diorite and calcite and used it to add the part in between. I then added in an oak wood floor, built up a low wall, and added some more strip spruce that will eventually hold up the roof. Making sure to repeat this process for the remaining 3 towers. Moving on to the roofs themselves, I used a mix of different deep slate blocks. Now that the tops of the towers are built, the castle's starting to look pretty cool. Although the towers themselves are looking a bit flat, I think it'll be better if I had some window things that sort of extrude from the tower. After hopping back into the creative world to design these window things, I worked out what height to place them at and started building. Oh yeah, that looks a lot better. The next thing I did was quickly adding spiral staircases to each tower, leading up to the top, even though I'll never go up there for the foreseeable future. Oh yeah, and I also added white stained glass panes to complete the windows. Alright, the castle itself is basically done. Now I need to build another tower in the center for this fox, whenever I get it. Why am I actually doing this? This provides no game progression. Despite my rather odd obsession with towers and knowing the rough shape of it, I struggled making a circle. Nope, that's not right. Wait, that's not right either. Oh, for God's sake. Okay, the base outline was finally an actual circle. Let's get building. Alright, let's just see how this turned out. Oh, that looks like a penis. Well, you know, once I add some more stuff to it, I'm sure it will look a lot better. Yes, I think I should leave building cylindrical objects for a future episode. I wanted the head of the... Excuse me. I wanted the roof of the tower to be a black stained glass dome, so I collected a bunch of sand, dumped it into the smeltery building, and used my looting 3 sword to get some sacks. Ink sacks. Ink sacks for the black dye. Sorry, I'll stop now. Okay, that should be the skylight thing done. Let me just drop down here. Oh, how did I... It was now time to make it look less horrific. By adding depth, I started with a ring of dark oak wood, like so, bringing parts down to the ground, followed by some polished deep slate walls going up the sides, because I now knew what I wanted to add at the top. Yes, I know there's no sides to a circle, but it's a cubic game, so fuck. My solution to tackling the shape of the tower was to have 4 balcony things extruding out from all sides at the top, and as you can see, it definitely helps. Once that was done, I textured the main body and the base of the tower by using a mix of cobbled deep slate, polished deep slate tiles, and lastly, cracked deep slate bricks. Okay, yeah, that looks a lot better. Now, the next thing I want to do is make the outside area look a lot better. With that in mind, I started digging out a path circling the central tower. And after gathering a lot of gravel, I filled in the hole to make the path. Once again, it was time to texture. I hadn't textured paths like this before, but after adding some polished andesite, regular andesite, stone, cobblestone, and a little bit of coarse dirt and path blocks around the edges, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I planted some oak and birch saplings, scattered a few spruce leaves, bushes, even having a couple grow out these whole things, and placed a few rocks and boulders around the area. I even used some hay bales and flowers to add a pop of colour. The last thing I needed to do before moving this fox in was to build a basic interior, and I mean basic, like your dating quality. I built a 3x3 spiral staircase, put in the floor for the second top layer, and even built an observatory platform. And added some structural support. And that's it. Yeah, I don't really know what interior to build for this tower. If you've got any ideas for things I can build here, let me know in the comments. Just keep in mind that the fox will only have access to these 2 floors and the observatory. This rat doesn't need any more space. Speaking of the rat, it was time to find one. Should be pretty easy, right? 3 hours. Since you need to breed 2 wild foxes to produce a tame one, I needed to find 2. It took me 40 minutes to find the first fox, and after dragging it around the place, even to a whole different biome 1,000 blocks away, for the next hour and a half, this happened. No. Fortunately, exactly 2 minutes later, I found a family of 3 wild foxes. After trapping them in a box, making them get busy, and kidnapping their child. Here we go. I need name suggestions for it. You guys got anything? Dragging it 2,000 blocks back to my base, and carefully pulling it up the staircase of the castle. No. Are you Good, you're still here. I need another one. I'll just go up the side of the mountain. I'm not risking anything. I'm encasing the whole of this staircase. Oh my god, finally. Let's just close that off. Here, have this potato. Oh, that's cute. Look at this little nose. Oh, what's that, Fox? Join the Discord server, link in description. Huh.